Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a fan of grand adventures, epic stories, and unforgettable characters, then you already know that Final Fantasy is one of the most beloved RPG franchises of all time. Which game in the series stand out the most? In today's video, we're ranking the top 10 Final Fantasy games of all time. Whether you're a fan of classic turn-based combat, real-time action, or unforgettable soundtracks, we got something for you. So grab your potions and let's dive into the list. Starting at number 10, we have Final Fantasy XVI. Released in 2023, this game marks a bold new direction for the franchise. Unlike previous titles, FF16 shifts its focus into a darker, more mature story, filled with political intrigue, betrayal, and war. You follow Clive Rosfield, a man who witnesses the destruction of his kingdom and embarks on a quest for vengeance. The combat system takes more of an action-oriented approach, inspired by the games like Devil May Cry, offering fast-paced cinematic battles. The icons play a central role with massive battles that rival some of the most iconic moments in Final Fantasy history. The world of Valisthea is beautifully crafted, filled with stunning environments and deep lore. The game's soundtrack, composed by Masayoshi Soken, delivers some of the most memorable music in recent Final Fantasy titles. While the game received mixed reactions on its pacing and narrative structure, its ambitious world-building and dynamic combat system have made Final Fantasy XVI a standout entry for the fans of the franchise. Next at number 9, we have Final Fantasy X, the first Final Fantasy game to be released on the PlayStation 2. This entry is notable for its fully voiced characters, including the beloved protagonist Tidus and his journey alongside Yuna, a summoner destined to save the world of Spira. The game's turn-based combat, the introduction of the Sphere Grid, and the unforgettable Aeons all contribute to what makes this game one of the best in the series. The emotional storyline, filled with the twists and sacrifices, leaves a lasting impact, especially the ending, which still sparks debates to this day. Coming at you at number 8 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Released in 2020, this reimagining of the 1997 classic took everything fans loved about the original and modernized it for a new generation. The Final Fantasy VII Remake offers an expanded narrative that deepens character development, particularly for beloved characters like Aerith, Barret, and Tifa. The game takes Cloud's journey to stop the megacorporation Shinra to the next level. With fully fleshed out characters and emotional beats that resonate even more than the original, one of the standout features is the hybrid combat system, combining real-time action with strategic elements from the original turn-based system. This makes for a very fast-paced, exciting battle, while still allowing you to pause and issue commands to your party's members. The visuals are stunning, and the world of Midgar feels more alive than ever. With incredible detail in every corner, the music, including remix versions of iconic tracks like One Winged Angel and Aerith's theme, is absolutely breathtaking. While the remake only covers Midgar portion of the original, the story expansion of the cliffhanger ending leaves fans eager for the next installment. For some, it's a masterpiece that enhances the original, while others are still waiting to see how the full story unfolds. There's no denying that Final Fantasy VII Remake is a monumental entry in the series. Coming in at number 7, we have Final Fantasy XV. Released in 2016, this entry brought a new, more modern approach to Final Fantasy's formula, blending an open world exploration with real-time combat. You follow Noctis, the Prince of Kingdom of Lucius, and his 3 loyal companions, Prompto, Gladius, and Ignis, as they embark on an epic road trip to reclaim Noctis' throne. The game's open world is expansive and beautifully crafted, with day and night cycles, dynamic weather, and side quests that offer hours of exploration. The real-time combat is fast-paced and exciting, allowing you to control Noctis while using his magic, weapons, and summons in thrilling battles. The bond between Noctis and his friends is a central theme, and it's hard not to be moved by their camaraderie and the emotional highs and lows they experience throughout the game. One of the standout features in FF15 is the summon system, where iconic creatures like Shiva, Titan, and Bahamut appear during epic battles, delivering some of the most jaw-dropping moments in the series. Despite its mixed reception, some players felt the story was a bit disjointed and certain plot points were rushed. Final Fantasy XV remains a memorable and emotional journey with a unique take on the Final Fantasy experience. At number 6, we have Final Fantasy XIV. While it had a rocky start with its initial release, Final Fantasy XIV was reworked into one of the greatest MMORPGs of all time after the relaunch with A Realm Reborn in 2013. Since then, it has become a massive success, delivering epic storytelling, world building, and community-driven content. You create your own custom character and explore the world of Eorzea, a realm filled with magic, intrigue, and conflict. With the regular expansions like Heavensward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker, the story has evolved into one of the most captivating narratives in Final Fantasy history. What sets Final Fantasy XIV apart is its consistent and rewarding content updates including new dungeons, raids, trials, and seasonal events. The game blends strategic turn-based combat with real-time action, allowing you to take on a variety of roles as warrior, mage, or healer. The sprawling world of Eorzea is filled with memorable characters, emotional moments, and world-shaping events that engage players in ways few MMORPGs can. The game's community is one of the most friendliest and most welcoming, often creating bonds that last longer after you log off. Whether you're raiding with friends, crafting your own gear, or experiencing an incredibly well-done main story, Final Fantasy XIV provides an experience that is unparalleled in the MMORPG genre. And with an upcoming expansions, it's clear FF14 will continue to grow, keep players hooked, and new content for years to come. At number 5 we have Final Fantasy IV. Released in 1991 for the Super Nintendo, this entry was a milestone in the Final Fantasy series, introducing the active time battle system that would go on to define future titles. The story follows Cecil Harvey, a dark knight who embarks on a journey to redeem himself after questioning his role as a servant of an oppressive king. Alongside him are a diverse group of characters, including Kain, Rosa, and the beloved Rydia. This game's plot is rich with twists, betrayals, and personal growth, and it's often considered one of the most emotionally charged stories in the series. FF4 was one of the first games in the series to focus heavily on character development, with each party member having a distinct story arc and motivation. The complex relationships, especially between Cecil and Kain, add depth to narrative and make it one of the most memorable Final Fantasy experiences. This game also introduced iconic villains like Golbez, the mysterious villainous force that threatens the planet. The dungeon designs, combat mechanics, and the rich soundtrack by Nobuo Uematsu laid the foundation for the future success of the series. While it might be straightforward to compare to the later entries, Final Fantasy IV remains a fan favorite for its timeless story, iconic characters, and introductions of systems that would shape the Final Fantasy franchise. At number 4 we have Final Fantasy VII, arguably one of the most iconic RPGs of all time. Released in 1997, FF7 was a groundbreaking title that changed the face of gaming. With its transition to 3D graphics and full motion video, Final Fantasy VII was a technological marvel for its time, and it introduced new generation of players to the Final Fantasy series. The story follows Cloud Strife, a mercenary who becomes embroiled in a conflict with the mega corporation Shinra and a mysterious Sephiroth, a villain with a dark and twisted connection to Cloud's past. What sets FF7 apart is its unforgettable characters and deep emotional storytelling. From Cloud's internal struggle with his identity to Aerith's tragic fate, the game tackles complex themes like memory loss and the environment. The world building is rich, with the dystopian city of Midgar being a standout filled with secrets and conspiracies. The materia system, which lets characters equip magical abilities, was innovative and allowed for deep customization of party members. Who could forget the iconic summons like Bahamut, Shiva, Ifrit? The game's soundtrack was composed by Nobuo Uematsu again. It's equally legendary, with the tracks like One Winged Angel, Aerith's theme still resonating with fans today. While FF7 isn't without its flaws, some of its mechanics feel outdated by today's standards. It remains as one of the most influential RPGs ever made. It sets the stage for the future of the genre and remains a beloved classic that fans continue to revisit and celebrate. Coming in at the 3rd spot is Final Fantasy IX. Released in 2000, this entry is often regarded as a love letter to the early Final Fantasy games, bringing back the classic medieval fantasy setting while adding new layers of depth to the series. The story follows Zidane Tribal, a mischievous thief with a heart of gold, as he joins Princess Garnet on a journey to escape her kingdom and uncover her dark secrets about the world of Gaia. Alongside them are a cast of unforgettable characters, including the thoughtful black mage Vivi, the strong-hearted Steiner, and the lovable summoner Aiko. Final Fantasy IX stands out for its charming, whimsical atmosphere and its deep emotional narrative. The characters feel like a true family, each with their own personal struggles, but coming together to fight for the greater good. Zidane's journey to self-discovery and Vivi's quest to understand his identity are two of the most moving character arcs in the series. The game's world is filled with lush environments from bustling towns to eerie forests. The soundtrack by Nobuo Uematsu is one of the series' finest. The battle system, ATE, and unique character abilities adds a layer of strategy to combat, while the game's charming tone and art style offer a refreshing contrast to the darker themes explored in Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy IX balances humor, adventure, and heartbreak in a way that makes it a timeless classic. Whether it's the stunning visuals, the unforgettable cast of characters, or the emotional conclusion, Final Fantasy IX stands out as one of the best in the entries of the Final Fantasy series. Now, at our number 2 spot, we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The highly anticipated sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, released in 2024, Rebirth continues the reimagined journey of Cloud Strife and his party as they try to save the planet from the looming threat of Sephiroth and Shinra. What sets Rebirth apart from its predecessor is its expanded world, new narrative directions, and the deepening of relationships between characters. The game takes its story beyond Midgar, giving players a much broader view of the world of Gaia. With breathtaking visuals and expansive environments, Rebirth offers a fresh take on iconic locations, all while keeping the original game's spirit intact. The combat system builds upon the success of Remake, blending real-time action and strategic elements, allowing players to seamlessly switch between characters to execute powerful combos. One of the standout features is the dynamic growth of the characters, where not only the action is more immersive, but their personal arcs evolve in intriguing ways, offering new revelations and deeper emotional connections. While Rebirth stays true to the core of Final Fantasy VII's story, it also introduces bold changes that make the experience feel unique and fresh. From redesigned versions of classic locations like Kalm and the new adventures Cloud and the group embark on, to the expansion of the game's lore and the growing tensions with Sephiroth, the narrative keeps fans on their toes, making it a must-play for anyone who loves the original. The game's soundtrack, once again composed by Nobuo Uematsu, continues to deliver memorable tracks that perfectly complement emotional highs and the lows of the story. With the stunning visuals, action-packed combat, and immersive storytelling, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is just not a continuation of Final Fantasy VII's story, but a redefined experience that brings the past into the present, solidifying its place as one of the best entries in the series. Finally, coming in at number 1, we have Final Fantasy VI. A masterpiece that continues to stand the test of time as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Released in 1994 for the Super Nintendo, FF6 pushed the boundaries of storytelling and character development in a way few games had before. The game's plot follows Terra Branford, a woman with mysterious powers, as she joins a group of rebels, fighting against oppressive Gestalian Empire led by the deranged villain Kefka. What makes FF6 truly special is its massive ensemble cast. Unlike many RPGs where the protagonist is the sole focus, FF6 gives each of its characters their own rich backstory, motivations, and personal growth. From the noble thief Locke and the stoic soldier Cyan, the enigmatic and tragic Sabin, every character feels essential to the story. This dedication to character depth allows players to become truly invested in their journeys, making every victory, loss, and moment of growth all the more impactful. The story of FF6 is filled with heart-wrenching moments, from the rise of Kefka as one of the most unforgettable villains in gaming history, to the devastating destruction of the world, one of the boldest narrative choices of its time. The game's mature themes such as sacrifice, identity, and the fight against tyranny still resonate today, proving FF6 is not just an RPG, but a deeply emotional experience. The battle system itself is equally revolutionary, with the unique Espers and Magicite system allowing players to customize characters with powerful spells and abilities. The soundtrack by Nobuo Uematsu is iconic, with unforgettable tracks like Dancing Mad and Terra's theme, elevating the emotional weight of the game. While Final Fantasy VI may not have the visual splendor of later Final Fantasy games, its storytelling, character development, and sheer scope of its narrative set it apart as the pinnacle of the series. It's a game that continues to influence RPGs to this day, and remains a beloved classic that holds a special place in the hearts of the fans worldwide. Thank you for watching. I am Mako Parasite. I'll see you next time.